Hey, what's up, family? It's your host, Dr. J, with another phenomenal episode of hashtag It Could Have Been Me, where we talk with women leaders about challenges or hurdles they've overcome that enabled them to be the exception to the rule. Proudly saying, it could have been me. And here's the thing with being the exception to the rule. We're not saying you're better, it's just different. You overcame something. You have a story to share, and the world wants to hear. But more importantly, you're going to be sharing insights on how our audience members, friends, family, whoever, can have that same mantra of, it could have been me. So to break us in this morning, I have a quote. I'm going to read this quote, and it reads, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself, from Leo Tolstoy. Now, today is truly special because I have a colleague and a close friend of mine who I consider to be fearless, compassionate, smart, and one of the closest allies I have in my circle. Everyone, I'd like to present to you Cindy Wing. Now, hold on, Cindy, before you speak, hold on. I want to be able to share why I consider you to be an ally and why this is crucial. I often tell people that anti-racism work, equity work, belonging work has to be one of the hardest roles out here. Um, for me personally, it was like trying to right the wrongs of the past, making sure we're good in the present, and being able to be a trailblazer for the future. Because what people didn't share with me is that it's hard being a trailblazer. You get all these cuts and bruises and tears, and there's no blueprint for when you're being a trailblazer. Um, but Cindy, when you allowed me to lean on you, more importantly, you gave me access. You helped to be that glue for belonging, for this work that we do. So, nevertheless, let me tell you what else Cindy Wing did. Um, Cindy Wing acknowledged, Jessica, we have a problem. Jessica, we have to do something about it. Let's roll up our sleeves and do it together. And to this day, as I've mentioned before, so many folks talk about the Cindy Wing and Jessica Pepple or Dr. J complex and the work that we did. And it's special to me because if I had to capture, if I had to take the word allyship and put a picture of it in a dictionary, it'd be the both of us just shining and standing still. So world, because we're international, we're national, we're local. I present to you Cindy Wing. Cindy Wing, thank you so much for being here on our podcast. Hashtag It Could Have Been Me. How are you today?
I am great. Dr. J, thank you. Thank you for having me on today. And I just want to highlight something incredibly crucial that you just referred to that has been my mantra.
Mm,
Each one of us has a different journey, but
mm,
taking the past, the present, and the future journey you'll have
mm,
and making sure that you learn each
mm,
step of the way and retool based on that learning, and that your journey is always forged forward to
mm.
be better than tomorrow than yesterday.
Well, wow, Cindy, when you come in here just dropping jewels and nuggets of information, I haven't even asked the first question yet. See, everyone, this is why I tell you, this is my Cindy Wing. I mean, I know who her family is, but look, let me borrow her. This is my Cindy Wing. Oh my gosh, Cindy. Oh my gosh. Thank
But you've taught me that, and that is critical.
Cindy. Listen, Cindy, we got to keep going. Cindy, you are a guest on the podcast, so we gotta hear from you. We gotta hear from you. But I truly do thank you because you're everything. You're everything.
Thank you.
So Cindy, first question is, who are you? Who's Cindy Wing?
I am actually born and raised in a small town in central Mass. Um, My parents were very sheltering. I grew up in private schools. So I was very sheltered from the world, very sheltered from the world. As I grew older and graduated from college, I had three very different careers. I
Mm,
started out in high tech, running a sales, international sales and marketing division of a high tech company. I went into my own company. I felt I needed to forge my own path. That
mm,
was truly an amazing opportunity. And then my last career was really about bringing education and health and human services together to really make a difference for those that need us to come together and
mm,
make a difference with them. And that has been my passion for the last 20 years. And now, recently retired, I am retooling again to find my next career to do right by so many people that have been
mm.
wronged.
Oh my gosh, you took the words out of my mouth. A phenomenal introduction, phenomenal journey that you have described, and happy. And I hope you'll allow me to join you as you retool on your next journey. I would.
Without a doubt, Dr. J.
Oh, let's go, Cindy. Let's step on the gas. Let's step on the gas. To the audience, I definitely want to state that Cindy has really been an ally, friend, and colleague for justice. Um, Hard to walk in the room and not be able to see, okay, something isn't right or we can do better.
Yeah.
So Cindy, it leads me to this question of when did you first realize um, there was a problem in marginalized communities? And when I speak of marginalized, I talk about, the Black community, the brown
Mhm.
community, the community with the LGBTQIA plus folks. I talk about those who are neurodivergent. I talk about those who have historically been overlooked and may
Mhm.
even be currently overlooked. But pick one. But when did you first realize, hey, something
So
isn't right, we have a problem?
great question. And there was a pinnacle moment. So again, I shared I was raised in a private, small community private schools,
Mhm,
and I lived in this wonderful neighborhood. And my neighbor who went to school with
mhm,
me, she was Black.
mm,
And my mom used to watch her. Her mother had to work quite a bit.
mm,
And I realized that over the course of time, she wasn't included in different things.
mm,
And that really bothered me. And I didn't know why, because she was a joy to be with.
yeah,
And she spent a lot of time at our home. I asked my mom, why? Why is that? And she spoke about the society, and even though wrong, it could be based on her skin color.
yeah.
And that just
Mm,
made me so angry. And I made it a point to always bring her along on different things, and um, really felt the pain of that and how she felt as a product of that treatment. So that was really the pinnacle moment. And that was in eighth grade.
wow, wow. Did she ever tell you how she felt? Did she ever like share?
We really didn't know how to articulate feelings
Mm,
like that back then.
yeah.
Um, you know, she was our neighbor for many years, and then went on to find her own career and her own pathway. And then our pathways would reconnect over time.
Really?
And I'm still friendly with her today.
Really? Oh my goodness, that is amazing. I
Uh, she's a
never.
dynamite woman who knows what she wants, stands
Mm,
up for what she wants, and takes no prisoners in the process.
hear that. Now that's all right, Cindy. Now, Cindy, tell me this. Because I also feel like you are a woman who knows what you want, taking no
Mhm.
prisoners in the process. Have you always been like that?
No.
Mm,
I was raised very humble. My parents were, You don't speak unless you're spoken to.
Hmm.
You are always the most humble in your presentation. And you are, we were a religious family, so that played a part in it too. So it wasn't until I became actively employed in a high-tech company and experienced my own mistreatment being a female
Mhm.
and uncovered things that were like, that's wrong. Why am I different than somebody else? And went through a process of managing. I took on a new role and found that the gentleman who I replaced was making $20,000 more a year. Back then, that was a lot of money.
Wow, that's huge. Even now.
And, things like that, where you had to sit in a room of predominantly male, white
Yeah.
males,
Yep.
and you were the lone female,
Yeah.
and always having to wear my hair up and straight suits and glasses so that I would be taken for truth of who I am and what I know.
Yeah.
So that's when I started really fighting back
Mm.
for myself
Mhm.
and standing up for what was right.
Yep. Good. 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 I want to jump in, Cindy Wing, and build off of what you're saying about
Mm,
how you had to change up your identity. I know that coming from Florida to Massachusetts, I found that I was often the only Black person or the only Black woman in the room. And I don't want to say I had to change up my identity so much, but I was mindful of it. What I did notice is that whenever I wore my hair straight, I received more respect. When I would turn off my Southern accent and speak in a more European accent, I
mhm,
received more attention. Or whenever I spoke about my credentials, I had everyone's attention. But it felt like, well, why do I have to share so much just to get you to listen to me? Or if I took off my big earrings and put
mhm.
in some diamond studs or wore pearls, I was quote unquote more professional and people would hear me.
Right.
My struggle came and thought of you so recently, and everyone in the audience, I will upload the video, but I was leaving a meeting. Won't say what kind of meeting it was, but I was leaving a meeting. And once again, I was the only Black woman, only Black person in the meeting. And I had to deliver a hard truth about our Black and brown students because no one else did.
Right.
And then whenever I do, Cindy, it's this silence in the room. It's so deafening. It's like you just drop something. All the smiles go away. People won't look at you. People try to leave the meeting faster. And afterwards, I said, you know what? I want to make a video so people can know what it feels like. And in the video, I've shared it on my LinkedIn, and I asked the question, what happens when you're not in the room?
Mhm.
And sometimes I think, okay, if I'm not in the room, if Cindy's not in the room, if so and so isn't in the room, then how do we make sure marginalized voices are uplifted? How not even just uplifted, but empowered,
Right.
and that we do something about the inequity. So my question to you, Cindy Wing, is this: when you and I first met, when our when we started our beautiful journey, I'm curious, and to those of you in the audience, I've never asked this question before, but why did you reach out? Why were you so warm to me, so compassionate to me?
To
Uh,
you?
yeah.
So I am sitting there in an interview with you, and I pride myself on trying to be dynamic, have a thoughtful personality, and try to be professional and really show my intelligence, my credentials, that I work hard.
Yep.
to always be in tune with
Yep.
today. And you sat in that room, the
Mm,
only one who wasn't known amongst the group,
mm,
and you put on this persona of, I am okay, I am comfortable in my own skin, and I am here. And if you choose me, you choose right. And
mm,
if you don't, it's your loss.
mm,
And so for me, that stood out clearly as a woman with the right agenda to get stuff done. And so for me, it was an easy, I really appreciate this woman and I want to come together with her because I always need to be learning to be better.
mm.
And you will be the one to teach me forward and hopefully help me be that better person.
Mic drop. Look, Cindy Wing, this is too much. When I tell you Cindy has her roadmap for really getting her thoughts across and just making it so sweet. Oh, Cindy, I love so okay, Cindy, I love it. I love it. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Um, in the short time I've known you, it feels like years. It's been a short time. Um, I often you empower everyone, but you especially empower women.
Mhm.
And they flock to you and they want to hear more from you. Um, my question is, what type of ally do you think? I mean, I know you are an ally. You've been a confidant to me. You've been a champion. You've been an advocate. But what type of ally are you? And why is
Mhm.
this important?
I feel, again, I go back to your past, your present, your future. All comes down to some very simple principles, and the upbringing that I had in having the humility to
Mm,
know you don't have all the answers. You are not the one with all of the knowledge and expertise. And it takes a village to really bring people together. So I
mm,
feel there's a couple of kinds of people. There's people who are outwardly your ally because they know it's the right thing. And then
mm.
there's people like me who are looking for that allyship, so to speak, because you want to be that better person, and you need to bring all of the other people with you that want that same goal
Yeah, yeah.
to be right beside you. And empowering people
Mm,
helps you be a better person and helps them be a better person. And
mm.
so that humility and empathy of understanding people,
Yeah.
knowing that through you're empowering them forward, that brings you along the journey too.
Wow. You touched on empathy. I had that as the next question, which leads me to this. This is the part of the show where I call WOH. And it stands for We're Out Here Now. And so what I mean by we're out here now is imagine being in the middle of the ocean.
Mhm.
No compass, no map, no guide. It's just you in the ocean. And you're so far out from the shore, being in the middle of the ocean. So now you have a choice to make. You have to go in a new way. This new way will either be a consequence for you or it will be a new pathway forward in your life. So we out here now. And so to have this quote, this is where we're brave now.
Okay.
From Audre Lorde, she stated, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. Because we out here now. We can't be afraid. I got some questions and I want to hear your response to this. Cindy Wing, I feel like the world right now needs more than a hug. Actually, before I even get to this question, let me say this to the audience. Uh, when Cindy and I were working together, I mentioned that Cindy gave me access. I mentioned this equity work being hard. This equity work is hard because it can be siloed. It
Mm.
could be an add-on. It could be supplemental. And in order for this work, equity, belonging, anti-racism, in order for it to actually work, it needs to be the DNA of an organization. It needs to be the DNA of a school district. It needs to be a DNA of the community. And Cindy, you helped to make this be the DNA of the organization where you and I were.
Mm-hmm.
And that is huge. And when you have this equity work being the DNA of the organization, it is more sustainable. You can't take it away because it's culture. It's no longer, hey, here's a rule, here's an idea, here's an initiative. No, it's DNA.
Right.
Continuing, I say that because to this day, it's thriving. Equity and belonging, it's thriving. So my question, my we out here now question is this: how do we build more white allies
Mm-hmm.
for people of color? What do you think?
That's a powerful question. And it starts with, again, that humility of knowing you don't have all the answers. I
Mm,
did a advanced graduate program at Harvard, and it was the life altering experience for me because
wow.
it helped me drill down on my why.
Mm,
And that moral code stood out strongly for me. Who am I? Where did I come from? What was my journey? What were my experiences? And how does that mold who I am today?
yeah.
And then how do I take that moral compass, that moral right,
Mm,
and influence the future?
mm,
So when you're we are working with organizations
mm,
who really want to make that DNA a part of the culture,
yeah.
you have to have people that are out there now wanting to do right,
Yeah.
not doing right out there because it's visually right, and then
Mm,
behind the scenes, after you're not in the room,
yeah.
change up what they say and do. And if we can influence by repetitious behaviors
Mm,
that DNA, that model of action oriented thinking
yeah.
that drives an agency or a business or a school, whatever, forward, that helps pave the road to say, if you're not on that page, you do not belong here. So
Yes.
thank you for your service, but we only want people with that cultural
Yeah.
connection and commitment.
Yeah. Cindy Wing, everyone. Cindy Wing, Cindy Wing, Cindy Wing, Cindy Wing. Oh, I feel like she's the guest and the host. All right, Cindy, let me ask you another we out here question. Um, what do you for what do you think is hard about being an ally? Have you ever lost any friends or family members who said, "Oh, Cindy, you sound a certain kind of way. I don't like the way you sound. I don't want to talk to you anymore." Have you ever lost anything like for due to advocating for
Right.
marginalized communities or advocating for belonging? Like, is it hard?
I think from that perspective, right, initially it's hard because you're shifting the way you act.
Mm,
I learned quite quickly through my educative studies and then through working with you, um, that really you need to check yourself at the door consistently. And I found myself checking myself when I behave in a certain way,
mm,
when I say something about someone,
yeah,
and through that checkpoint and that reference point
yeah,
of I'm going to ask myself why I just said that, did that, or acted in this way. Why did I do that? And
Mm.
then having the grace, you having the grace to entertain my questions when I didn't understand
Yeah.
something, and having the ability to say, I don't understand. People fear coming out of their shell and asking the
Mm.
question because
Mm.
they don't want to look like they don't have the answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unless you can come up beside people, empathize with their situation, and understand who they are, where they come from,
Yeah.
and then help them feel like they can ask the question,
Yeah.
you help
Yeah.
people learn and grow.
Mhm.
So, for anyone that didn't want to remain as a colleague or a friend, I don't have time to waste on that. I
Mm.
have my attributes, my thinking, my passion, my commitment, my ethical, moral code that drives me. And so, encircling myself with people that feel similarly, they don't have to be exactly the same,
Yeah.
but similarly. And then that leaves great room for great discussions too.
So do you think great discussions shift mindsets, and then do new mindsets shift practices?
Yes, because everyone has their own perspective.
Mhm.
They think their perspective is right.
Mhm.
I come at it from a mindset that I have my perspective, but I want to collect all the facts. I want to
Mm.
understand. And then if I come out of the conversation with a better understanding and a better perspective, then
Yeah.
I'm better off for it. People don't always come at it that way. They're ingrained, entrenched in their past and their present, so they can't alter their future. It's through those conversations where no one's up in arms.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a matter of fact, informational learning conversation that helps us all be better, and that helps the outcome.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Tell me this, and I can't help this just, and I hope I have your permission. There's this picture where you and I are doing a training together, and we're like side. I have so many pictures of us being side by side, and
Yeah.
it just reminds me of the importance of having that partnership. And I wonder, Cindy Wayne, do you think people felt more? Do you think people gravitated more towards belonging, or diversity, belonging, inclusion, and equity? Do you think people shifted more towards that because they saw us working together, because they saw our partnership? Like, I don't know. It just hit my mind like,
Absolutely, because we were open to understanding each other. We were colleagues for the same mission.
yeah.
We tag teamed on everything.
Mhm.
We would sit for hours and have discussions around what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What do you see? What do you see?
Mhm.
And then being able to have open dialogue where people felt we saw them.
Yes.
We saw them for who they are. We respected who they are in their role and as a person. And we were there to help them grow because through their growth, we grow,
Mm.
right? So
Right.
there would be no other way you could go through that
Mm.
but together, side by side, arm in arm, with the
Mm.
same commitment, the same passion, and understanding for bettering the environment, bettering the culture.
Cindy, you make my heart sing. You make my heart sing. You make my heart sing. Which brings me to this, Cindy. And I'm looking at the time, and wow, we're
Mhm.
we're already flying. We're already flying. Now it's getting juicier. Um, Here's my question. I often tell people it can take 8 to 10 years
Mhm.
to make an organization, school district, community, place equitable, even more equitable. 8 to 10 years. That's half of a generation. Um, within this short amount of time you and I were together.
Mhm.
Oh, still together, if you ask me.
Mhm.
and we achieved so much.
Mm.
We didn't even get to the 8-year mark. But let's fast forward. Let's say we do it again and we
Mhm.
get to the 8-year mark. What do you think that looks like?
I think that's changing the culture to where people have humility, empathy, compassion, understanding, respect, and trust, right?
Mm,
You have you have people who have that comfort zone
mm,
to be able to say, I can be my true self. I can ask that question I don't know, and
mm,
no one's going to judge me.
mhm,
When you have people and you've weeded out all of those people that really don't have that, I'm this way in a meeting, I'm this way outside of the meeting, and I don't alter who I am.
yeah.
When you have an organization who is committed to growing that group of individuals and having the same attributes, the same philosophy and approach to leading and growing together,
Mhm,
that's where I see the end result, because you have not replicas of you or me,
yeah.
but
Mhm,
individuals who have identified their moral ethical code of belonging in society, belonging in the workplace, and having that same passion for the work that we do.
right, right, right. Not
And
to
you're on your way because you brought such a leadership and knowledge and commitment to it that people knew you saw them. People knew you felt them.
mm.
They knew you had their back no matter what.
Well, Cindy, I need to echo the same sentiments. Oh, everyone knows you have their back and that you push for. And here's the thing, it is everyone, which leads me to this. The way you would listen, and you listen to everyone, but I want to bring it to Black women
Mhm.
and how they would communicate with you. They would share their concerns and their problems, and you would unpack and you would listen and you would do something about it. Like you never said, "Oh, those are your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings." Or, "Oh,
Mm.
okay, no, you would follow up. You would tag team if we needed to tag team. But what was beautiful was you took it. You didn't. I didn't need to always be there. I didn't need to be there. You took it, which leads me to this question, Cindy Wing. Um, when you are giving feedback to another white person, or when you are having a hard conversation with a white person who may be struggling with bias or who may be struggling with a microaggression, um, how do you do it? Because I know you've done it before and you
Yeah.
do it beautifully, but um, how do you coach someone and still, get them to be an ally and not give up? So
Mm.
I know I said a lot right
Yeah.
there, but those are
Can I answer that with a story, a quick one?
please.
Just a
Oh,
quick one.
please, please.
So I was an educator in a regional high school,
Mhm,
and there was this young man, Hispanic, and he sat in that room every day. At first, I really I didn't know what to think, and shamefully, I never made that connection initially.
mhm,
And then over time, I started talking to him and learning about him.
mhm,
And by the end of that school year, he and I had a magnificent relationship. And he came to me at the end of that year in tears and said, "You're the only educator that
mhm,
ever saw me."
mhm,
It brought me to tears. And
mhm,
I keep that in my heart every time I sit with someone to give feedback or guidance. Unless you make an effort to connect with people, show them that we're in this together, that
yeah,
I want to help you, you want to help me, and
mhm,
we need to do this together. It's not, I'm not reprimanding you.
mhm,
I'm guiding you to learn from your actions,
Mm.
and then through that learning, transform into a better person.
Yeah.
That young man taught me, and it stayed with me for all of my remaining years as an educator and beyond, that understanding where they come from until you walk in their shoes. Harper Lee, right? To Kill a Mockingbird, my most
Yep.
prized book
Yeah.
as an educator. Until you walk in their shoes and understand where they come from, their knowledge, their journey, you can't make that difference. So I
Mm.
try to connect with people and try to come up beside them, not at them, beside them.
Right. And besides, all right, Cindy. Wow. Wow. I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Cindy, last question before we close out. In my dissertation, I wrote about being a lone Black female educator
Mm,
in a predominantly white setting. And let's say that I am a lone Black leader in a predominantly white setting. What, and here's what's so wild. And I was talking to a, a great person of mine. His name is Desmond, and he said to me this morning, he said, you have to share your story. There's a reason why you are here to share your story because
mm.
others are going through the same thing. And so my question is, knowing that there are other lone Black educators, lone Black leaders, Latinas, whoever, they are the only ones. We are the only ones in those spaces. Um, what, how can we thrive? Not survive, because survive, you're just maintaining, but how do we thrive in those spaces? What would you say?
So, a couple things.
Mhm.
One, remember when we were working together how we would continuously try to promote individuals, female leaders, male leader, people into leadership roles, um, trying to be very specific in helping them grow, because through that growth, you build your community, right? And
Right.
then for the other colleagues that are leaders, it's really identifying those leaders that may not be of the same gender, the same color, but have the same philosophy, and building that philosophy so that you both together as a group that grows, um, and it builds that culture and it builds that belonging, so that over time you see other individuals of color moving into leadership positions. That was our goal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Helping to build people's skill sets
yeah.
to be able to grow, and
Exactly.
then finding those colleagues in leadership roles beside you that are really in it for coming together as a team.
Everyone, Cindy Wing. Sometimes I like to put the word angel, right? Cindy Angel Wing, everyone. Cindy, this has been a phenomenal interview, a phenomenal show. I often tell people if I need to make a U-turn, I'll come back and bring you on, Cindy Wing. But your philosophy, your insights, your words, it just really shines a light on how equity and belonging, how it is the DNA of
Mm.
culture, which drives an organization or school district or community forward. So I say all that to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being your most authentic self. Thank you for creating that space for me to be my most authentic self. We can only fly higher when we do that. So, to my audience members, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, please subscribe, please share, and come back for more. Hashtag it could have been me. And you heard from Cindy Wing on sharing how she's been the exception. But I think more importantly, how she is creating that trajectory, that pipeline to make sure others adopt that mantra as well of it could have been me, but this is what happened to me, or this is how we moved differently. So we
Right.
out here now, and we're out of here now. And Cindy Wing, it's been a pleasure having you. And
Thank you, Dr. J. You are the most dynamic woman I know.
you're the most dynamic woman I know. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.